In yet another embarrassing defeat for Trump, a jury spent a mere 35 minutes before acquitting a man who was standing trial with a felony charge of pointing a laser at Trump's Marine One helicopter. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into this. Now, Jeanine Pirro, Trump's appointed U.S. attorney, former Fox News anchor, put this man on trial, Jacob Winkler, 33-year-old from D.C. She said that she planned on prosecuting him to, quote, the fullest extent of the law. Well, the jury had something to say about that. A 35-minute deliberation for a felony charge that would have been, if convicted, would have given him up to 5 years in jail, a fine of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And yet the jury deliberated for only 35 minutes, a stunningly small amount. Just to put it into some context, when a jury goes back into the jury room, yes, they have to go through the evidence. They have to discuss the evidence, but they actually start with reading jury instructions. Jury instructions can be a few pages long. So they have to read the jury instructions, read whatever evidence they need to go over, deliberate, and come to a conclusion in 35 minutes. That shows how weak that evidence actually was. Well, according to the public defenders who defended this man, they said it was actually a cat toy. It was, those toys that have those beams of light that you use to engage your cat, that this was evidently what the man was using. So according to the facts, this man was in DC and an officer came upon him, and the officer shone a light in his face. And so he then shone this light back to the officer and then evidently pointed it at Marine One, whether or not it was actually the direction of Marine One. He was then arrested for pointing a laser at Marine One. When he was arrested, he evidently was on his knees, sobbing, saying he apologized, saying he points his laser all the time at signs. He didn't realize he wasn't able to point it at the sign. This man who the officers came upon him because he was most likely unhoused, living on the streets. So they decided, Jeanine Pirro decided to go ahead and use resources to prosecute this man, despite the lack of evidence, despite the fact that he was using a cat toy. Now let's just talk about this for 1 second, because as we know, we've been reporting quite a bit on the MeidasTouch Network, how little, what a difficult time Jeanine Pirro is getting to get actual convictions, never mind to go beyond grand jury. As we know, she lost with the sandwich, the man who threw the sandwich at officers. She tried to get a felony. The grand jury said no. Then she tried to get an indictment for a misdemeanor. That went forward. It went to trial. She lost. Supposedly, this is not just happening in these cases. It's happening across the board. Her dismissal rate or lack of conviction or lack of getting an indictment or a charge is about 20%. When you compare that to a 0.5% over that same last 10 years, this is a stunningly small amount. But in addition to the fact that she's overcharging people, as in this situation, which is causing people stress, mental anguish, having to be put on trial and go through all of that, despite the fact that the law is on your side and the facts are on your side. Also, she's diverting really important resources because there's very scarce resources. Usually it takes quite a long time for things to get to trial because there just frankly aren't enough judges. There are still vacancies in that area, about a dozen vacant judge positions in her area that are not filled. Judges here, even in California, some of them have thousands of cases that they try. Never mind public defenders who have a huge load. If you really cared about crime, you would use your scarce resources to go after criminals. So not only are they abusing their power when they decide to go after somebody with a cat toy, they are diverting resources in order to actually go after criminals. But there's a reason why they brought this to trial. And it's not just incompetence. It's because it's a narrative. It's a story. When you talk about how you need to prosecute this person because he was trying to harm Trump, it feeds into this narrative that somehow people want to harm Trump. This man became part of the propaganda, and thankfully, the jury said, no way. There's nothing quite like ending the day on the couch with a great blanket, and Lola Blankets has become my favorite blanket because it is soft, luxurious looking. It is lightweight, yet just warm enough. And the great thing about it is you can put it in the wash over and over. I have a dog and cat and kids, and it still looks good. No wonder it is the world's #1 blanket. It is definitely my family's favorite blanket by far. In fact, I look forward to getting another one with this new promotion we're having. So Lola has an ultra soft luxury faux fur and a signature 4-way stretch that sets it apart. It's machine washable, double hemmed for durability, and stays flawless. No pilling, no shedding, even after repeated washes. I have the large. There is even an extra large, which is considered the biggest blanket on the internet. They have weighted blankets, travel size, matching pillows, anything you can want. And my favorite thing about the brand is they also donate a portion of their proceeds to breast cancer research and have a program called Blankets for the Brave, where they give blankets to people living with breast cancer. So I can feel really good about supporting the company while I enjoy their blankets. And right now, for a limited time, our listeners get 40% off select Lola blanket products with code MISTRIAL at checkout. Just head to lolablankets.com and use code MISTRIAL to get 40% off your order. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. Wrap yourself in luxury with Lola blankets. Back around the time that this case went forward was around the time that Trump was trying to make it sound like DC needed his help. This is what he had to say.
We're not playing games. We're going to make it safe. And we're going to then go on to other places. But we're going to stay here for a while. We want to make this absolutely perfect. It's our capital. And I guess it used to be many years ago safe, but it's certainly not had a very good run. And you got to be strong. You got to be tough. You got to do your job. Whatever it takes to do your job, you got to do your job. But the crime numbers are way down. I'm looking at, you saw some of the stats. They just read them out to me inside, the numbers that we haven't seen here ever. And I think it's probably, right now, to me, I feel very safe now, and I'm hearing people are very safe, but I know within 2 weeks, it's going to be, Pam, it's going to be at a level that's even far superior.
Playing games. It is all a game for Trump and Jeanine Pirro. But real people are put on trial with real consequences. Thank goodness we have a jury system where our founders realized that the people needed help against the power of the prosecutorial office. Never has it been abused in this way, but thankfully there are protections, and a jury of his peers acquitted him in 35 minutes. Now let's talk about the idea of even this whole thing being a game. The game of Jeanine Pirro putting out charges to make her look tough, despite the fact there's no evidence against it. Trump putting forth, as we know, what he did in DC, the National Guard, what he's doing in ICE in Minnesota. But the facts remain that under Biden in 2024, violent crime was down in DC significantly, down by 35%, the homicides were down 32% in 2024. So Jeanine Pirro is trying to come up with fake indictments in order to make things look worse than they are, certainly against Trump, certainly in this issue when you are dealing with a cat toy. Thankfully, we have the jury system fighting back with a very embarrassing loss, a very quick verdict. My name is Dina Doll. This is the MeidasTouch Network. If you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to do that and follow the Mistrial podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out the link, which is usually below in this video, because I'm so grateful to our sponsors. They never censor what I have to say.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.